Initial call, were there several officers all responding to that same call, or we don't know at this point?
We really don't know at this point. I've talked to multiple sources, and obviously, when something like this happened, it is, a very chaotic scene. So we don't know, or I don't know at this point, what the initial call was, other than when they arrived, I was told that it appeared that they were ambushed by this suspect who just opened fire on these officers and wounded them severely. And then they gave chase into Louisville. Initially was also, I think it's right there on the Louisville-Carrollton border, because we also heard at one point that it might be Carrollton, but the last I heard, the suspect was shot dead in Louisville, or possibly also shot himself. Again, we just know that the suspect is dead and some sort of shot, but a gunshot. But we don't know whether officers shot him or he shot himself, because again, very fluid, but we're hearing two different scenarios. But we do know that the suspect is deceased at this time.
And Rebecca, I know that you have been speaking with multiple sources right now. Again, like you said, this is a very fluid situation, so we're being very careful with what we are reporting. But what happens next here throughout the rest of the evening? Give us an idea of what officers and where this investigation will turn to in the next coming hours.
Well, obviously, all of the officers that were involved, there'll be a huge, massive crime scene with Dallas investigators. Also, the DA's office investigates all officer-involved shootings, so they'll have their investigators out there. Then you'll also have the families at the hospitals that will be brought in, and I'm assuming, because I know that whenever there are officers shot, they actually go and they get the families. It's a horrible knock on the door. I remember on July 6th when, July 7th rather, when this happened, and they were sending officers to notify the families. And I can only imagine that is just a horrible knock to get on your door of Dallas police officers showing up to take you to the hospital. And they don't tell you right away what has happened to your loved one. They take you to the hospital, and then they allow the command staff or the doctors or whoever to tell them, what has happened to their loved one. So all of that is happening behind the scenes right now. And then, we have been told that one officer has passed away, so they will stand guard over that officer until they are transported to the funeral home, and then they'll basically stand guard until the officer is then laid to rest.
Well, we thank you very much. I know this is looking to be a very long night for these families, for the department, and for you as well, Rebecca. Also want to get to, we mentioned that the officers were taken to two separate hospitals. We have Matt Howerton now. He's at Baylor Scott and White. Matt, what can you tell us from what you have seen, heard, and the people that you've been able to speak with there?
Start talking.
Yeah, Chris, we've just been across the street from the emergency room here at Baylor Scott and White in downtown Dallas, and we know obviously what Rebecca has just told everyone, that there have been 3 people that have been shot within the Dallas Police Department, and they are here. 2 of them are here at Baylor Scott and White in Dallas. We know one is at Dallas Methodist. We're across the street. The emergency room is behind me. There's a lot of officers that have gathered here. We know that there's been some pretty high-ranking officers that have been here in this area, this little canal, the emergency room, to, I believe, just gather and stand in solidarity. There's a lot of Dallas Fire Rescue guys that are right there by the front door of the ambulance. I'm not sure if they're paramedics that are just here usually, or if they've came to show their support. But anytime you see this many officers in front of a hospital, it's not good, and we've done this job for many years, and anytime I'm outside of a hospital and see this many officers, I know that someone has been injured on the force, someone's hurt, or someone's been shot. And like Rebecca had said, just to recap, what we know is that we have 3 officers that have been shot after an incident in the South Central Division of the city. I believe she reported that one of them has since died. We know that 2 of the officers are here. And that is where a lot of the fellow officers on the force have showed up to pay, obviously, their support to those that are here, obviously, with those two officers. And we don't know their specific conditions right now, but this is a very, very fluid situation, and we're trying to learn more about this as everything develops.
All right, well, thank you very much, Matt. Again, just to reiterate, we know that the initial shooting happened on East Ledbetter Drive in Dallas. We know the suspect was then shot in Louisville, and we know the officers were taken to two separate hospitals, one to Methodist, two to Baylor Scott and White.
That is correct. We have multiple crews working this story. Again, 3 Dallas officers shot. One of them, we have been told, has died. We will have the very latest on this story online throughout the night and tomorrow morning on News 8 Daybreak.